Ciao, everybody. Welcome back to the Tutto Calcio podcast. My name is Gio, and I am your host. We got Dom here as the co-host as well. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. And we have two special guests for this episode, everybody. We have Nima, representing Italian football podcast, everybody. Welcome, Nima, as well. And we got Suavi as well, representing the Inter as well. And, of course, we got the co-host Dom. We got Didi as well, representing Juve. Nadine, representing Juve. And also we have Francesco, representing Milan. We're going to bring it all to the table. We're going to talk about Italy. We're going to talk about Juve-Inter that's on the horizon. We're going to talk about, is Chiesa's career over? We'll talk about a lot of the things, man. And I want to talk about Gattuso too. But before we get into it, make sure to slap the like, subscribe to the channel, everybody. And we're going to be growing a lot, man. But before we also get into all of that, I do want to introduce Nima, man. How did you become an Inter fan, bro?
This goes back a long time. Can you guys hear me well?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, and I was unable to do the usual check before I joined. No, this goes back a really long time, back to when I was the 88-89 season. I was 8 years old, or just about to turn 8 years old, and it was the Inter dei record, Giovanni Trapattoni's Inter, dethroning Diego Maradona's Napoli at the San Siro 2-1, winning goal by Matteus. And that's when they clinched the Serie A title, dethroning Napoli against at home at the San Siro. And this was before the third tier of the San Siro, because that came up for the 1990 World Cup. And the crowd, the characters involved. It was Walter Zenga, Riccardo Ferri, Andrea Mandorlini, Nicola Berti, Andreas Brehme. It was all these characters and I just fell in love. And you have to remember, this was like in the 80s. They didn't show like football. It wasn't as easily accessible. So I was watching it because they were the two Germans with their Brehme and Matteo. So I was watching it with my aunt's husband, who was German. He's no longer with us, sadly passed away a few years ago. And I was watching it because he had the satellite dish, and so he was watching it via German TV. And so it was really hard to come by back then. But yeah, after that, it was just I was sold. It was finished.
Wow, man. And
Nice.
I mean, yeah, bro. No, that's really nice, bro. Really nice, man.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, it's inspiring to hear such a story.
I remember when I was 8-9. After that, back then, like I said, this was before the internet was widely available, and there were no social media and anything like that. And so, we used to get in Sweden Gazzetta dello Sport in certain newsstands, right? And it was always 1 or 2 days old. And I remember I used to use my weekly allowance I got from my mum when I was a kid, 8-9. I used to go and buy these day old Gazzetta dello Sport, and I used to sit and and they were huge. Like, these newspapers are huge, and I used to put them on my bed, and I used to just turn the page. I couldn't speak a word of Italian back then. Obviously, we're Iranians, and we were in Sweden, so I couldn't speak a word of Italian back then. So I used to sit there and dream that one day I would learn Italian and I would go to the San Siro, and as fate would have it, the San Siro has been my workplace for almost 12 years, and I've been able to cover Inter for 12 years. So and obviously learned Italian. So yeah, it's fun how those things turn out.
Yeah, man.
And I get what I gathered from all that is that if Inter wouldn't have dethroned Napoli that season, you would have been a Napoli fan.
Listen, no, because Lothar Matthäus. I mean, I fell in love with Lothar Matthäus. I mean, Diego Maradona is the greatest player of all time. That's just a fact, and that's my opinion. It will always be that. But Lothar, outshining Matthäus, Lothar outshining Maradona, not just in the Serie A that season, not just against that Napoli, but also in the 1990 World Cup when West Germany won it, as they were called then. He was the player of the tournament, Lothar. He was absolutely unplayable. And to me, I was just blown away. But no, Napoli you know, I've always respected what Maradona did. Respect what De Laurentiis has done. But and I love the city, I love the people, and you know that, Dom. You know, I've spoken. I mean, the culture, the food, the history. I mean, I'm if it wasn't for Inter, I would never go to the north of Italy as much as I do. I would never. I mean, basically, if you listen to the Italian football podcast, I always basically say that for me, the Serie A is Mezzogiorno. Like that, I only care about the south. Like that's just me, my personal preference, right? But so. And that's, you know, I've got friends and family all over Italy, but especially in the north, in Milan, and in Turin, and in Genoa, and I've got family, lots of family. I've got a good deal of family in Florence, and it's beautiful there. I'm not saying anything like that. It's just a personal preference. I love the south. Everything from Rome and down is my bag. But yeah, so I don't think I would have supported Napoli because I've never really liked the club, despite what some might think. The fans are funny and hilarious, but the club's always annoyed me. If I were to choose a club from the south, it would be Catania. It would be Catania because of the reason why I became a football journalist. Not a lot of people know this. You see, one of my childhood friends, his name was also Carlo. He also sadly passed away. And he passed away just as I was about to launch my career as a journalist. He was the one, we grew up together in Sweden, and he was the one who he insisted that I should write about Italian football. And Carlo was the kind of guy that, you know, he was from Catania. He obviously, being from Catania was his first team, but obviously, you know, everyone has a Juve or whatever, so he was a Juventino as well. But Catania was his thing, and so I remember there was this Swedish fan site, which actually I was invited to their 25-year blah 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 thing the other day, and they basically every team had like a page, and you could write for it. And I didn't want, and I just started my law degree in the UK, so I didn't really have time to write for them. So he kept telling me, "Have you sent in your application? I want you. There's nobody in Sweden that should talk about Inter more than you, or write about Inter than you." I was like, "Yeah, I'll do that," and I didn't because I didn't have time. So what happens is he did it for me. He did, because Carlo was just that kind of a person. He didn't. If he decided something was going to happen, it happened. And so he wrote it, sent it in, and I got an email saying, "Oh, you've been accepted." And I was like, "What the hell is this?"
Wow.
And so I contacted him. I was like, "What have you done?" And he's like, "Yeah, you're not going to do it, and I want you to do it. So now you're going to do it."
Like, awesome, man!
Wow,
that's
great, bro.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I became a football journalist. Because after that, that's when I started Sempre Inter 2 years after that, and then the rest, you know, all the journey from that and then on. But it was all him, and he sadly passed away just as I graduated in 2009 in law, which is 3 years before we kind of started Sempre Inter. And it's weird. He never got to see any of the things that I've done in my career, and it's weird because I carry him with me all the time. Like, it's weird. It's like I literally every time. I remember the first time I was accredited at the San Siro, I was like, you know, Carlo's here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's
of course.
yeah. Sorry. Didn't mean to turn this into a.
No.
We're enjoying this. This is your story that we're seriously enjoying listening to. So you can seriously keep going. We love this, and I'm sure the people watching are also loving this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So we got some questions for you, Nima. We're going right into it. We're gonna pick on that brain. And what's the first question? What's the first question we got for him, Gio?
How did you start your podcast? That's what
the Italian Football Podcast. Okay, so basically what happened was myself and John Solano and a lady called Chloe Beresford. John contacted me. He runs Roma Press. He contacted me about 7 years ago. Said, "Listen, you have your Inter thing. I've got my Roma thing. Let's do a weekly roundtable of just talking Serie A, just you, me, and Chloe." I was like, "Yeah, that'd be fun, actually. Just very simple." And so we basically did it once a week. Had no intention. We just had like a roundtable conversation, and we really, really enjoyed doing it. And we did it for about a year, something like that. And then we were like, "Okay, should we grow?" You know, we was growing and we were having fun, and I was like, "Okay, well, what do we do to grow?" And then Chloe had work commitments. She had to leave the pod, and I was like, I wanted to continue. So I spoke to John. "Do you want to continue?" He's like, "Yeah, okay. So if we're doing this, we need to rebrand." Because we wanted to grow, wanted to do more content, wanted to work more professional. Because in the beginning, it was just a roundtable discussion. And so I was like, you know what? I've known Carlo Garganese from Goal for about a decade now, because I used to do exclusives for them, transfers and interviews. I interviewed US men's national team player Mix Diskerud in a long interview for Goal. It was like a 3-part interview, and I did like news stories and breaking stuff for them as well. And Carlo built Goal, essentially Goal.com. He was head of content for all their like 140 different versions in the world, and he basically was part of the team that made them the biggest football website in the world. And so I was like, and I knew that he was kind of leaving them and he was tired of it, and I was like, and I know, because I was like, and I know he's a Juventino and I'm an Interista, John's a Romanista, and also we're all journalists, and I was thinking, okay, well, so I contacted him and said, would you be interested in doing that? And he said yes. And so we had a meeting, and I was like, well, I think instead of calling it, I don't want to have an Italian name. I want to have just the Italian Football Podcast. What you read on the tin is what you get, and because it kind of leaves it open. And I wanted the name to be in English as well at the time. And so, yeah, that's kind of how we started. It's we started it exactly in 2020, and I think exactly 5 years ago. September 2020 is when we started it.
We have a panel member here that started, like, you got her into Serie A.
Really?
Yeah, your podcast actually got her into Serie A.
This is like a really full circle moment for me, because I'm a baby fan, so I started seriously watching Serie A like last year, and I remember I was like going on YouTube. I'm like, how do I learn more about it? And your podcast came up, and I just started listening to it weekly, like looking forward to it. So this is a really big circle.
Wow, thank you. Wow, what a lovely. That's one of the nicest compliments I've ever received. Like, thank you.
Yeah.
Unfortunately though, Nima, she's rooting for the wrong club, bro. She's rooting for the wrong club. What's going on?
I mean, the Juve thing, like, yeah. I mean, even the Juve thing. I mean, even like Carlo, who I work with now, and also Carlo, my friend who passed away, and was a Juventino. So I'm kind of used to this thing with the gobismo, as I call it. But no, all jokes aside, yeah. So we started it 5 years ago, and it was really fun, because the concept was we wanted to do a Monday show where we review the weekend. We wanted to have a Q&A where people send in the questions just for patrons, and I also wanted to have another show. And we were like, okay, we should have an interview episode. And our very first guest was Sven-Göran Eriksson, the former Lazio England manager, Sampdoria, Roma, etc., Fiorentina. And he was so lovely, because at that point we had no following or anything. And I remember calling him, setting it up, and he gave us, we interviewed him a couple of times after that, but he was our very, very first guest. And we spoke for an hour, and he was so generous with his time, and very fun. And yeah, no, it's weird that it's been 5 years now that you asked. I don't reflect about these things a lot. I just keep going to the next, next week, next guest, next whatever. I never reflect about these things, but yeah, it's been 5 years. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, man.
What's the next question you got, you?
Yeah, so I do want to talk about Italy, the Italian national team. I mean, they played yesterday. They won 5-0 under Gennaro Gattuso. I mean, what are your thoughts so far about that squad already and about that manager? Do you think that we could qualify?
I think it was very important to get those 5 goals, because Italy have to win every single game in order to have a chance at finishing first in the group, and the goal difference will be very, very important. Having been smashed by Norway the way that they were, that was that the goal difference is always going to count. So Italy need to rack up goals. So I thought it was good. It was a good bounce back from that. I think Norway are going to go clear, and I think that decisive game for Italy at home to Norway, I think that game's going to be very decisive. I think we will know when we get there whether or not Italy stand a chance to finish top spot, and if not, it's a playoff. As for Gattuso, listen, he was not my top choice. I don't think he was anyone's top choice. I think the fact that, for me, it's a little bit strange that they appointed Spalletti, forced him to play a 3-5-2, which he can't play, sacked him, bring in Gattuso, and then go back to a 4-2-3-1, which the squad isn't really suited for. I mean, if we're honest, it is best suited 4-3-5-2 with the wing backs, with the central defenders, with the central midfielders. But having said that, Gattuso may, what he lacks in, tactical astuteness, he more than makes up for in his ability to motivate players, in his ability having shared a dressing room with big players. He knows what it takes to win. He knows what it takes, like those things. And also, I think he did a decent job at Milan and Napoli. I think he's been fairly, like, I don't think he's ever going to be a world-class top manager, but I think he's a good manager. Yeah. But overall, I think given what happened after, Allegri was where he was, Simone Inzaghi was where, ideally they would have just gone to Simone Inzaghi, or they would have gone to Allegri. But that never materialized because they were, again, too slow. I think for the Italy national team, Simone Inzaghi would have been the best choice, given the group of players that are the core of this team. That would have been the most natural move to make, to take the Inter coach and basically say, okay, Barella, Bastoni, you got Tonali there, all of these players that work, you got Di Marco, it would just have been the norm. For me, that would have been just a sensible thing to do, but they weren't, they aren't sensible and they were a little bit slow. So I think, all things considered, Gattuso, when Ranieri turned it down, which I'm kind of happy he did. I love Ranieri, and I wish, it would have been a crowning moment. But if he had taken over, it would have just been another stopgap. At least with Gattuso, there is something that is more looking to the future. And, the fact that he plays Di Lorenzo, as we've seen with Spalletti, yes, it's a back four, but when you got someone like him there, you can kind of invert him so it can win possession. It becomes a back three, and Di Marco can push up and so on. So, no, I think it's a good start. Finally, it's a good start. It wasn't any drama. There was some positivity around the Italy national team for the first time in a very, very long time. So, yeah, well, let's wait and see. Let's not get carried away.
Yeah, exactly. One game at a time.
Yeah, man. And another question here I have. What are your initial thoughts on that formation that Gattuso put out for the first game? Did you like, especially with Keane in that second striker number 10 role?
I really liked. I was a bit skeptical when I saw the lineup, but it's because it's not really. Is it a number 10? Is it a second striker? Well, it was more of a second striker. It was more like a 4-4-2, if you want, or a 4-4-1-1, if we're perfectly honest, like on paper. But then there was lots of tactical fluidity in the sense that, like I said, Di Lorenzo cuts in, becomes a back three. Di Marco pushes up. There's, Retegui is very good with his back against the goal, can hold up play. Moise Kean. That's kind of why I wanted them when they play a 3-5-2. I wanted to play Moise Kean and Matteo Retegui up front because I think those two can work really well together. And I think Retegui took enormous strides in last year under Gasperini, not just capocannoniere wise, because we know he's always been a goal scorer, but as a player, his pressing, his hold up play, his link up play, his passing, his read of the game and stuff. So no, I was really impressed with that solution of playing them together, and I liked what I saw.
Yeah, man. And we do have a question from the chat from Dan. He says, can Esposito be the future striker for Italia?
Francesco Pio Esposito. Listen, I fell completely madly in love with this guy last year in Serie B, because when he was at Spezia, because I watch Serie B because I think it's the most interesting league in Europe, if I'm perfectly honest with you. But that's me because I'm a bit of a nerd. But because of it's the storyline. It's basically, to me, it's like when you watch the Serie B and the Serie C, you know what's going to happen in the Serie A in 1 to 2 years' time ahead. And I like to kind of stay ahead of the curve a little bit. And also, it's Italy and it's crazy, and the further down you go, the crazier it gets, and it's just entertainment. But yeah, last year when he started the season, there's a photo of him. Try to find that in Spezia. When he starts the season at Spezia, it's okay. It's not, it's his first team season, first year doing senior team football, first team football. And he's like, having done a preseason at that level for the first time in his life, it's the second year of Italy. He then begins to build up his body and his physique whilst playing, whilst training, mid-season, bulks up, puts on 10 to 12 kilos of muscles on top of what he had, doesn't lose any explosiveness, doesn't lose any dynamism, doesn't lose any movement, but in fact becomes stronger and more concrete. In fact, it helps him to score. That kind of development is, to see that in front of your eyes on a week-by-week basis, is very rare at 18. And I was completely blown away. I think it's very, very early days still to say what he will do for Italy. I don't even think he should be called up to the squad, because I'm of the opinion that caps, when you represent your national team, that is an achievement and accomplishment in and of itself. He's not even played that much even for Inter. You know, he needs to start for Inter. He needs to develop for Inter. I didn't like it when Mancini did it for Zaniolo without a single minute for Roma. He was in the national team. I don't like that. But I'm very excited about Pio Esposito. I think he's the only brother of the three who has talent to be a top player. The others are decent, but I don't see their. I just never thought they could be top players. Francesco Pio Esposito can be a top player. The talent is there, absolutely.
Yeah, man. And I do want to move on from the Italian national team. I want to go into a little bit on the horizon, Juve-Inter. You know, I do want to get your thoughts about that game that's going to be coming up, man. I mean, how are you feeling as an Inter fan? You know, how are you feeling for that game?
I mean, Christian Chiesa should never have been appointed, but I don't blame him for being appointed. Inter put themselves in a shitty situation, and now you have Italian journalist Fabrizio Biasin going out saying that Allegri's agent even offered himself to Inter, and they said, no, we want a younger profile, so they could have taken Allegri, and they decided not to, which is just, you know, if he's saying that, that means that he has the get-go to say that, which is insane to me. You go from Spalletti to Conte to Inzaghi, and then he wants to leave. You want to change. Well, you've worked with Allegri before. You know what he gets you. He's a guarantee in terms of building something from that's what's already there. So instead, you didn't do that. You wanted Fabregas. You didn't get Fabregas. You ended up with Chiesa because Chiesa was the only one who could play kind of the same formation of the players you had. You put yourself in a really shitty position. And then you bring in a manager with 14, 15 Serie A matches on his CV to come to a team that the fan base that is basically really angry because they didn't win anything last season. They finished second in most tournaments. And you're talking about a reboot, a rejuvenation. You have a transfer window. I remember clearly going into this window, I said this is going to be the most consequential transfer window that Inter have had in many, many years. Well, what did Inter get? They got Luis Enrique. They brought in Zalewski, and with Zalewski, he was supposed to, because they were supposed to play a 3-4-2-1. They ditched that after the Lookman shit show, so they sold him, and then they brought the only reason they signed Luis Enrique was because of that. Okay, Petar Sucic can play in a midfield trio. He can play in a double pivot, so that's fine. He's a fantastic player. That's a good signing, regardless. Pio Esposito as a backup to Taremi, as a backup to Lautaro. You brought in Boni. So you've basically got the same starting lineup. You just made cosmetic changes on the bench. That's not where Inter should be. And then you have on top of that, you have a manager who has zero experience and is a little bit already we're talking about changing to a back four. He went from a 3-4-2-1 to a 3-5-2. Now they're talking about going to a back four. He plays with a ridiculously high line. Inter have almost a 40-year-old in defense. There's not, the press on the ball has to be perfect. And we saw it even against Torino in the first game when Torino played past Inter's first press. Inter were wide open. Mm-hmm. I'm concerned. I think he's going to be sacked by December. Because I know how these things work at Inter. There's not, they're not going to risk top four, and it's not going to cost them anything to sack and get rid of Chiesa either. That's the thing. Like, I remember the day before he was appointed, and he was appointed on my birthday, so thanks for that. So I remember the day before that, it was the 5th of June. I was talking to a colleague, Emanuel Rosso, who's a Iranian journalist, broadcast journalist, and he wanted to get my, he did an interview with me, and I said, look, I think he's going to get sacked by December, and I think they're setting him up to fail. They're sacrificing him. He's a club legend. Christian Chiesa is part of Inter's treble heroes. He's his part in Inter's history is forever going to be there. He stepped up, right, when Inter were in shit, but Inter should never have been in that situation. And so they've just brought him in there, and then you're like, okay, but if he's an inexperienced manager like Pirlo at Juve, but Pirlo had Tudor next to him at Juve, right, who had experience, even not as much as he has now, but he had experience. Who does Chiesa have? He has Alexander Kolarov, who was at the Serbia under-21 team, national team for 15 minutes, maybe 30. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And then you have Palombo. What has he got to do? I mean, so his entire staff is also inexperienced. This is a perfect storm brewing. And
So-
Igor Tudor is a very solid coach. I actually rate Tudor. I don't think he's a world-class coach by any imagination, but he's a very fundamentally, structurally sound coach. You have a Dusan Vlahovic who has got this Serbian chip on his shoulder, that look that only men from Balkan get when they want to prove the world wrong. You know what I mean? If you have a Balkan friend, you know what I mean. When they look like that pride, you've questioned their manly pride. Like he's got that chip on his shoulder, so he's going to score. He's going to come out every single game this week, and every time he plays to punch and kill. He always scores on Inter anyway. I'm really worried. I'm really worried.
I'm seeing that so what I'm gathering is that you're predicting a 4-0 Inter win,
maybe not
right?
4-0, but I expect a clear win for Juve, yeah. And I expect this. I really expect him to lose this game, not because I think Inter are qualitatively a worse side. I just think Inter are tactically and mentally in a really bad place. And structurally in a bad place, and it looks very confused, and it's match day too, and that's not a good sign. That's really not a good sign.
No. And what are your thoughts about the transfer of Akanji to Inter? And Pavard to Marseille, because I want to hear your thoughts on that transfer. I mean, are you in favor of that transfer, or?
I liked Manuel Akanji when he was linked into a couple of years ago. He even mentioned it himself. I remember when the whole Skriniar shit show that Marotta, again, another Marotta fuck up. Pardon my French. He doesn't mess up a lot, but when he does, it's big mess ups. But I remember he was gonna join, but then he joined City instead, because Inter were financially in a position they couldn't even pay any money then. It's weird to me because all summer we've been hearing rejuvenation. We want to rebuild. We want to do this. We want to do that. You send a 28-year-old Pavard to France and you bring in a 30-year-old Akanji. That's not rejuvenation. Okay, he's younger than Acerbi, but I feel most people that play football at the high level are younger than Acerbi. It's not, you're not winning anything there. I don't have anything against Akanji. I think he's a good player. I think he's very versatile. He can play in all three of the central defensive roles. He can play right center back, left center back, mid. That's fine. But I'm looking at Akanji, Bisek, Acerbi. It's going to be a tough season for Bastoni. Like, that's the only thing I think of. It's going to be tough for Bastoni because Pavard may not have been the fantastic success I wanted and wished he would be, but defensively he's been solid, and he is solid, and he's got experience. I think there's more to this story than we know. I think we'll know why he left, and the fact that he leaves on a loan and says, I'll see. This is not a goodbye. It's just I'll see you later kind of thing. I'll see you soon. Like, I think there's more to this story than we know. I think there was some. I get the vibe and feeling without having anything else to go off of that. This is very reminiscent of when Marotta sent Nainggolan and Perisic and Icardi 1 year as naughty school children that summer on loan to Bayern and PSG to with Perisic. I get these kind of Perisic vibes from this Pavard move. So yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, with Juve-Inter, I mean, what is your real predictions? Do you have any predictions for the Juve-Inter?
I think you were going to win. I think you were going to win. I think they're going to win clearly, and I think this is going to be a game where it's really crisis. I think it's going to be crisi Inter. I think I'm expecting this to be full on crisis, which is we'll see. All I'm saying is Mourinho's available, Mancini's available. Cut your losses now.
Hey, Suave, you sweating over there, man. I see it, bro. I see it. I see that you sweating over there, bro.
I mean, Nima is free to say what he feels, I definitely do not echo that same sentiment at all, I expect 3 points. That's
Nima, Nima, I wanted to ask you a very important question. I saw your Serie A predictions could you just touch base on that? What's your Serie A? Just the top 6. And
oh God, can you bring it up? Because I can't remember. I don't have the tweet with me. I can't remember it. Can you link it to me or DM me so I can bring it up? Because I can't remember what I remember. I said I think Napoli are going to win, and I think I said Juve second, Milan third, Inter fourth.
That's what was surprising to me.
Yeah, Roma fifth, and I think who did I have sixth? Atalanta. I think I had Atalanta sixth. Yeah, and then I think I had Fiorentina seventh and Lazio eighth, or was it the other way around? I can't remember.
Okay, nice.
I got it right here. So you have, you want me to send it to you?
Yeah, please.
All right,
thanks.
So send it to Nima.
Napoli first is not a shocker, you know.
I was just surprised with the Inter in fourth, but I wanted to, you know, I want
as long as I think, you know, the reason for that is because I think they're not going to sack Chiesa until earliest, when they absolutely have to in December. By then the half season's gone, you know, and I think, you know, everything else other than top 4 finishes is out of the picture. So that's why I've Inter fourth. I think, listen, I want to be clear here. I think qualitatively, on paper, technically, I think Inter have the best squad in the Serie A, and I don't think it's even close. Like, it's not. This is not even about the quality in the dressing room. I'm talking about the quality of the manager, the quality technically, tactically, the fact that Inter are a little bit after what happened last, you know, in the summer, and also what happened against PSG. Inter are mentally broken. I feel. I got to be honest with you. I feel like there's been, like they're recovering slowly, but I still don't see them fully like healed mentally after what happened.
Yeah, I sent you your tweet if you just want to review it. While you review that, though, I just wanted to mention that I don't agree. Listen, I've always respected Inter's squad, their talent, but after Napoli's transfer window, I think we strengthen. I think you guys have the best front attack in the league, but I think our midfield is better slightly, and I also think that our back line. I mean, I need to see them. I need to see our signings step up. But I think our back line as a defensive unit is going to be the best. Is going to provide the best defense in the league.
Well, of course, because you got Antonio Conte there, and you had the best defense last season, and that's why you won the league. I mean, that's why I have Napoli in because look, for me, De Laurentiis keeping Antonio Conte is worth more than winning the Scudetto. Like, that gives you continuity. You won the Scudetto playing once a week, as he always does. He always wins the league when he plays once a week. That's just his thing. Then you build upon that. After having sold Kvaratskhelia, after having sold Osimhen, after, you know, sorting that shit out, the mess was resolved, and you bring in players that he wants, and, you know, he is a guarantee. We know, you saw it also, the ability he does, that he has to build a dressing room, to build a team that cares, even when he's arguing with the club and throwing everyone under the bus and blowing the whole project up, throwing hand grenades at the owner and all that. He has this unbelievable ability to insulate the squad from all his nonsense and not only protect them and have them focused, but have them feel like a unit, like a team. I mean, you saw against the last gasp winner, I think was a Cagliari, when the entire bench and everyone celebrating. Now that's one of those kind of character building wins that you see with Conte. And I think he's, you know, you're going to be very difficult to score on, as you were last season. I think you're better. I agree. I think you've improved. But so he's a guarantee. And I also think that this season, one thing that I think a lot of people, we talk about it a lot on our pod, but I think it's gone under the radar, is a lot of the things about Conte is that he's been criticized so much heavily in his career about being so rigid and he never changes. Well, that's no longer true. Look at what he did at Napoli last season alone. He played so many different formations. He was tactically very flexible. He adapted to what he needed to do. Yes, he has his identity. He's always going to play calcio verticale, but he adapts and he mixes it up. He goes to a 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1. He played a 3-5-2, a 3-4-2-1.
Played 5 at the back at one time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's actually becoming. I I actually think that I don't think we've seen the best of Antonio Conte. I think we're actually just at the precipice of seeing him at the high peak of his career.
Nima, I'm getting excited. Nima, you get me too excited over here.
I'm not saying no. Honestly, as long as you keep him, I think you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
And it seems that he's happy, and that's another thing as well. I mean, him doing it at Napoli. He's from the south. He's from Lecce. He was hated by Lecce because he coached Bari, and then he was at Juve, and he was captain of Juve, and he was like that Juve. And then he never feels at home at Juve, or he never, he does feel at home as a player, but he never, as a manager, he's only here once or twice there. But then, and every time he had the chance to stay, he's always left. At Inter, he walked out the door after 2 years. Chelsea, Spurs, all these places. But at Napoli, of all places, he feels at home.
Yeah,
and he decides to stay. I think there's a very poetic beauty in that if you understand the cultural, socio-economic and cultural significance of the south and the north of Italy. I think it's very poetic, but I think he wants to prove himself in Europe now. I think he's tired and angry of this discussion of him failing in Europe. I'm not saying you're going to win the Champions League. That would be preposterous. What I'm saying is I think you're going to go far in the Champions League. Quarterfinal, semi-final.
You're going to get somewhere.
There was a comment that I guess he made in the beginning of the season that I missed. He said that when his time at Juventus and at Inter, he felt that he had left too early, or that he left the project too early. So him saying that while being at Napoli gives me that warm and fuzzy, comfy feeling that maybe he's thinking about, I want to build something and I don't want to leave before I see the fruits of what I'm building.
100%, and that's what I meant. That it's funny that him being from Lecce, he left too early at Inter, he left too early at Juve, maybe didn't really feel at home there, but he decides to do it at Napoli. Is interesting, not just from the fact that he has, and also the fact that he's developed. He's much more tactically flexible, and he's matured. It's a much more mature Antonio Conte. It's interesting. There's lots of interesting talking points from there. It's not just from Antonio Conte's matured, but also the fact that he is from the south, and Napoli is somehow the biggest city in the south and a symbol of the south of Italy, and so that he decides this one time where he doesn't decide to leave too soon, he does it at Napoli. That's there's a poetic element to that, which I think is very, very, and also of course an important element to that, which I think shouldn't be missed.
And I think one of the most important things there is how ADL changed.
ADL has been fantastic. The way that he has handled the entire Conte nuclear bomb, which he's a walking nuclear bomb. The way that ADL has handled that is just wow,
crazy.
But it just goes to show that he is a larger than life character, and he's whatever. But he's not. He's a bit crazy and whatever. But he's not stupid. He knows exactly what he's doing. And now he learned. He took so much shit after the Scudetto.
Yeah.
When deservedly so. When he lost out on so many things and he said so many stupid things, didn't have a proper sporting director, and the whole thing turned into be a shit show. But then he learned that no, actually, what made me a great president, what made this Napoli project a great project, was the fact that I hired the right people to do their jobs and put them in the right positions, and I stayed out of it, out of a lot of the things. And with Conte, he knows what he was getting. He was getting someone who doesn't take shit from anything or anyone. He who has a huge ego, and he has to handle that. And I think he's handled it so far brilliantly. The fact that he was able to stop Conte going back to Juve and be like, this is what we're going to do here. We've just won the league, but we're going to do this. I want to do this with you, and this is a project. In or out, Antonio? Well, that's really impressive.
Yeah, it is.
And I think that also means that he knows exactly how to get rid of Conte when he wants to get rid of him, which means that when it ends, I don't think it's going to end calmly. I think it's going to end in an explosion, if you know what I mean.
It always does with ADL. You know what I mean? I don't remember the last coach said.
And with Conte.
Yeah.
So, stick of dynamite, meet nuclear warhead. Have fun.
So long as the club survives, that's all I care about.
Yeah,
so long as the club doesn't go down, that's all I care about.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
Yeah.
You guys have any questions for Nima? I know Nima's pressing for time. If you guys have any questions for Nima, take advantage right now. This guy, his ball knowledge, he knows a lot. Yeah, just drop your comments in there, and then Suave, we haven't forgot about you. We're gonna go really rough on you here today. We're going rough on you
like
today.
his facial expressions is showing that he has stuff to say.
Yeah.
Lots of stuff to say.
Listen,
Like,
there's a clear disconnect between what Nima's saying and what I believe right now. You know? So
I can
and me
see
and
it in
Nima,
your
we go
face,
back and
man.
forth on these things a lot. You know, me and Nima, we're always clashing button heads, you know, on the interspaces. So I just can't wait to give you guys my perspective on these things. But
yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead if you want to. Go ahead.
No. Let's continue.
Go ahead.
I have no questions for Nima. I feel like I've already picked his brain on absolutely everything.
No, go on. If you wanna, no. If you wanna ask whatever you want.
I have no questions.
All right, Francesco, you have any questions? Didi, Nadine, any questions for Nima?
I mean, I was gonna ask Nima some questions, but he answered all of them for me. You know, about Esposito, about Napoli, about the Champions League, and about and about Kivu, because surprisingly, I also predicted that Kivu was going to get sacked early in the season because of how Inter has been looking so far this season. So.
But you're a Milan fan, right?
I am, yes.
Yeah. I think Allegri is I actually like what is going on at Milan from a football point of view. I think Allegri there. I like Rabiot with Allegri. I know exactly knows how to use him. I think Rafael Leao will have a fantastic season if he's fit. I think I have him and Jonathan David scoring between 24 to 26 goals in the Serie A because of the fact that Milan, I have them as capocannoniere joint. I couldn't pick between them because Jonathan David is a goal scorer. He's just a goal scorer. And Rafael Leao playing a counter-attacking side in this. He's just unstoppable. And I think if there's anyone who can kind of unlock Leao, I think it would be Allegri, because he's very good at handling big egos. He's good at handling big players. He's always been good at that. And I think he'll provide some structure for Milan, some much needed structure. I think with Tare and Allegri, you finally have some much needed structure to move on from. I am a little bit worried for Samuel Ricci, who's a player I've loved since he was at Empoli, that it doesn't seem like Allegri believes in him, which makes the signing of him a bit stupid. I think that money could have been spent wiser elsewhere, and it's also not good for the national team because I think Ricci, Barella, Tonali is a midfield that I would have loved to see play together.
You have a question here, Nima. Will Inter's roster age make an impact in this season?
I don't understand what he means by that. Will Inter roster age make it? I don't understand the question.
He means like the fact that we have an older squad.
Okay,
I think that's gonna be a problem. It was
already a problem last year, but I think especially in defense. I mean, if you look at those players, where is the age? Well, it's Acerbi, it's Jan Sommer. Those are where we have issues. Mkhitaryan, I don't really look. It's his last year, and he's going to hang up his boots. I'm not really worried, and I think Sucic. I think Inter are going to play Çalhanoğlu, Barella, Sucic. My issue is how good is Çalhanoğlu? Was this a decline? Qualitative decline? Was it just injuries? Was it what was it? And so I'm not too worried about Mkhitaryan's situation because that's going to resolve itself next summer. And also I think Sucic is a fantastic player. I think he's an unbelievable talent. He's probably the biggest talent to come out of the Balkans in 5-10 years. So I'm really expecting big things from him. But the Çalhanoğlu question mark, that's a worry. And to me, there's so many question marks that weren't addressed this summer that I have concerns.
Do you actually? I do have one question. Do you think Inter missed out big time with Giovanni Leone by getting him?
They got Palacios from Argentina for no reason whatsoever. I mean, we know that Leone is someone Ausilio's been scouting since his Padova days, right? But they decided to go after Palacios, who has been a complete and utter flop. So far, at least. So, yeah, I think they missed it. They should have had him a year ago, sent him on loan to Parma, and then they brought him back into the squad, and voila, so problem sorted. So, yeah, they absolutely missed on that. But I think everyone missed. I mean, when it comes to Coppola and Leone, it's just such a sad state of affairs of Italian football that Neither of them went to an Italian side. One ended up in Premier League with Brighton, the other one with Liverpool. He's going to be on the bench there, which is just such a depressing proposition for me. I mean, I would have liked a Juve and Milan, at least. Maybe Coppola wasn't good enough to go to one of these big in the north, but at least to a Fiorentina or a Roma or a Lazio or something, you know. It's absolutely depressing to see them go to these clubs in the Premier League. When I mean Brighton is, I mean, you know, it's just it's sad state of affairs. But you can't say that, because if you do, you know, it's funny. We criticize that all the time, but they just say, you know, they don't want to hear that, the Serie A. They are absolutely not happy with us criticizing them. I know that for a fact. They do not like that we say these things, but I don't care, because I'm not here to, you know, we don't, you know, as a journalist's job is not to massage the ego of people in power, it's to hold them to account. And if nobody does it, then, you know, sorry, but I think it's embarrassing. They should be criticized. I mean, the TV, just look at the revenue. The TV deals are an absolute disgrace. They're a joke, the way that they mishandled that. And okay, you've grown in America. Newsflash, the world is not just North America. Most people on this earth live in Asia. I'm sorry to break it to you. You don't even have a rights holder for one of the biggest, most populated countries on earth. India, for crying out loud. You don't even have a rights holder there. You don't even care. You literally did some bullshit in the Middle East, North Africa, which prompted your previous rights holder to lose his shit completely, and then you got lowballed and you took the lower offer. I mean, it's been lots of shit like that. And then same thing in Australasia. Every single season we get tweets saying, "Do you know how I can watch the Serie A?" When 2 days or one on the same day as the match day starts. I mean, it's an embarrassment. And their marketing as well is just, you know, they're clueless.
Yeah.
And you know, I think these things should be pointed out. I don't blame them for the stadium situation, because that's a local government situation. That's got nothing to do with the Serie A. But when it comes to the stuff that they should be handling, they're not doing a good enough job. And I think it should be called out, honestly.
Yeah, man. No, and I have a question as well. So I noticed about your predictions, right, earlier, and you had Juve in second. What are your thoughts about Juve and Tudor this season, man?
I like Tudor. I think you talk about strength and attack. Look at, you have Vlahovic, you have Openda, you have Kenan Yildiz, you have Jonathan David. I mean, I'm surely forgetting someone here. For Chico Conceição. Look, you have firepower up front. Defensively, Bremer, we don't know if he's going to be fit or not, but when he's fit, he's one of the best defenders, as in defending, in the world, I think. I think that season, his man marking, he's just a pain in the ass. He's unbelievable. He's quick as hell too, which means that you can play with a higher line. I know, of course, he's lost a bit of pace now after the ACL, but yeah. So and I look at the rest of the defense, and I actually think it's pretty compact. I think you have a great goalkeeper in Di Gregorio. I look at the wide areas. I see enough cover. I see it's okay. I don't think you're going to do well in the Champions League, but I think you might get to a round of 8, last 16, something like that, quarterfinal at most, right? But if I look at it in the Serie A, I think the weaknesses I see is the midfield. I think Kefren Turam is key. If he gets injured, you don't have a midfielder that ties together the defense and the attack. Juve don't have that.
They got superstar Locatelli though, no?
I knew you would bring that up. I knew it. I knew it.
He's a great player, but he's not Kefren
He's a great
Turam.
player.
Didi, did you hear that?
He said he's a great player.
He ain't Kefren Turam though.
Well, he's not
That's
Kefren
okay,
Turam.
we knew that.
I think everyone knows that, right? I mean,
I think we're self-aware.
Not everyone.
Don't change your tune now, Didi. Don't change your tune now.
Okay, we're being realistic.
Oh man. But we do have a couple comments in the chat for you, Nima. We have thoughts on Como this season. How far can they go?
I have them 7th. I have them as a dark horse to for the European spot. I have them 7th. I think.
Watch Francisco.
Sorry?
I said watch Francisco because we have a bet.
Yeah, we have a bet with this guy.
We have a bet in the panel.
Yeah,
Send
so
them the,
if Como makes that fourth spot or top four, right? But realistically, I mean, if they have a shot, it would be that fourth spot. He has to wear an Inter jersey. He has to wear an Inter jersey on the next show.
Why?
I got
Because
you,
he
brother.
thought. Okay. So why? Because Francesco
oh, okay.
thought they weren't.
Yeah, Francesco says there's no chance they can make top four. So we have Steve, our Lazio representative, and we came up with the bet that if they do make top four, you have to wear an Inter jersey. So he's over here sweating. And I guess you just like.
I wouldn't sweat. I think in order, look, I look at it like this. In order for them to finish fourth,
I know.
It means they have to finish above one of Juve, Milan, Inter, Roma, Atalanta, and I think there's a couple of teams that are a little bit too strong for them just yet. But I think they're going to seventh. I think is where I have them.
Nima, I also made a bet. Nima, I made a bet with Antonio from IFTV that if Milan beats Napoli at San Siro, I have to wear a Milan jersey the next time he comes on the show. Could you give me a warm and comfy feeling that I'll be okay?
Why did you make that bet?
Because he pressed me. He pressed me. You know, my back was against the wall, and you know, I started swinging. So I was like, yeah, let's make that bet.
Look, Allegri against Conte is just, for people like me who love tactical battles, it's Christmas Day. I'm going to love every second of that game.
What's your prediction?
I think it's impossible to say. Right? I honestly think we need to be closer to match day. I need to. But my feeling is it's going to be both of them will try to control and contain more than go for the win. I think it depends on what's coming as well. And at the same time, Allegri knows if in game there is an opportunity to go at Napoli, he will go for it because he knows playing once a week. If he gets that scalp, if he gets Conte's scalp, no pun intended, then that'll really build up Milan's belief in themselves going forward. Equally, Conte is not going to come to the San Siro and lose to Allegri.
Right.
Allegri, who replaced him at Juve, who got to 2 Champions League finals with his work. Do you know, there is this spiciness between them. And also remember the Montari, the goal that never was. And there is history between these two. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
So you had to bring that goal up, didn't you? You had to bring it up.
One of the few times that Juventus and fans and Milan fans have pretended that they're not on the same side. Is when that goal has essentially been just a.
By the way, Nima, I like how you did that. At his scalp, no pun intended. You know, I don't want that to go.
I had to make a wig joke, didn't I? I mean, come on, one ball joke and one wig joke. I mean, it was there. You know, low fruit.
Oh man,
we have another question.
It will be a close game.
Yeah, so we have another question in the chat for you, Nima. It says, question for Nima. Who do you think will win the UCL this season, and which Serie A club could make it far in the UCL?
I have Napoli going the farthest. I actually have Napoli going to semi-final in the Champions League. So I think this is going to be the year that he shows himself. And what was the second question? What was the first part of that?
Look at Dom.
So
just a prediction. Calm down.
Who do you think
will win the Champions League?
Yeah.
That's a difficult one, but I wonder if City in Europe are going to be dangerous. I don't think they're going to be as dangerous in the Premier League as they're going to be in Europe. PSG haven't done anything, and I know it's always dangerous to kind of not, even though they have a young squad. I do respect Luis Enrique a lot, and I've respected him for many, many years. Especially when he was the national team coach of Spain. I think he's such an underrated coach. PSG, Man City. I wouldn't count out Liverpool either.
I got Liverpool.
And Real Madrid is Real Madrid. Listen, you know,
I have Real Madrid and Liverpool.
Oh, of course, both your teams. Okay.
Look, Real Madrid is Real Madrid.
My teams, but they're strong, Dom. I have them for a reason. I have
them
for a reason.
Nima,
Liverpool has got the best transfer window in like
Nima,
the world.
we like to tease and bother Nadine because she has 20 teams and one 3 of these 20 teams is Liverpool, Real Madrid, and Juventus. I mean, come on, she's guaranteed to win a trophy every season.
Exactly.
She's always a winner.
Exactly.
Always a winner.
She's supporting two clubs from the trifecta of corruption. You know, 2 clubs from the trifecta of corruption. He sees Barcelona, it's done.
Wow. Liverpool have had like the best transfer window, and they want to win everything, and they are winning everything.
I mean, when you have $530 million to throw into the market, anyone could have the best transfer window.
Definitely found oil and stuff under the Anfield. So yes.
So
yeah, Liverpool have had a good window. They've had a smart window. Now they got to just get it together. I think they needed to. I think it was clever of them to give Arne Slot that year after Klopp and just find his feet. He won the league with Klopp's team, but that was an aging team, and they knew they had to rebuild, refurbish, renew. And so Alexander Isak coming in, I think is a really smart signing for them. I think he works perfectly in how Slot wants to play. No, I think they've had a really good window. I really think they had a good window. They spent a lot, but
they're going to go far.
Yeah, and they're also reigning champions, which puts pressure. So they've kind of managed. Their way of handling that was, okay, we're the reigning champions, so we're just going to puff our chests out and go for it. And I think that's also sends a signal to the players. But on the other side of that, it's you start having a couple of negative results, and that positivity can quickly sour as well. Like that can become a burden.
Especially that these players need to get together first in the field, because I feel like they're all stars. Even the younger players, they're all stars. So in order for them to get together, they're going to have to face a lot of negativity on the field first. So
they have to gel and they have to work together, and there is a changing of the guards there as well. I mean, Salah is 30, Van Dijk is 30 plus. I mean, you have quite a bit of 30 plus players, and I think there has to be a life at Liverpool after Van Dijk and Salah. So and I know they both extended, or I know they're going to stay.
Both until 2027. Yes.
But my point is that there's going to have to be life after that. Last season, Liverpool won because Mohamed Salah saved them pretty much in key moments.
That's true. Salah is always in there.
Yeah, but he's not always going to do that. He's a year older now, and it's a World Cup year. I know when it's a World Cup year for these players pushing 30, they want to that's their last chance to make a dent for their countries, and it means a lot to them.
That's true, because it was obvious yesterday. My national team was playing, and he still saved my national team. So,
are you Egyptian?
Yes.
Okay, so then you know that's the big thing for him. I mean, having done it for Liverpool and winning everything for many years is one thing. Doing something for Egypt is something else. He's
doing everything for everyone, for both teams. He's doing his best.
Especially when you consider the other players that played for Egypt, like Abu Treka, for example, Al Goma, they've etched their names into the history book for the national team, and he wants to be there with them. Obviously,
I feel like he's already with them, but I feel he's constantly trying. Either he's already an icon, and either in Egypt or in Liverpool, but he's trying his best.
It's just the fact that he doesn't have any silverware.
Winning the UCL again with Liverpool would be one of his top goals before he leaves again, so he could make it more into history.
Absolutely.
So
yeah. So Nima, you have another question here in the chat. You have actually a couple questions that we're going to read out before you end up, I believe, leaving. And you have, do you think Juric will be able to turn his recent form around and keep Atalanta in the top 6?
100%, and that's why I have them there. And the reason for that is because Ivan Juric is a Gasperini disciple. He has a different way of interpreting football. He's much more defensively balanced than Gasperini, who's much more forward thinking. But he's a disciple of Gasperini, and it's continuity, but with a change at Atalanta, which I think is good for them. The squad can play a 3-4-2-1. He's just more defensively better at keeping them solid. He's good at developing players. We've seen him do it with virtually nothing, perform miracles at Hellas Verona in particular. I rate Juric. I really do. I've always rated it. I think his football in Italy especially pays off. I think going to Roma was a mistake. That team wasn't built for him. And going mid-season was insane. The Southampton move, I will never understand, even if I live to be 1,000. But I think he's landed on his feet, and I think he will do fine for Atalanta. I think this is going to be a season for Atalanta where they kind of, try to find themselves after the, 10 years of Gasperini winning the Europa League and all that. We'll see.
Yeah. You do have, I believe, another question. Yes, there it is. Nima, who do you think have the best attack this year, depth and quality wise?
I think Juve and Inter are in a league of their own for depth and quality. Seriously, I mean, just look at the firepower and the options that those managers have. And I think this season, especially if we're talking about Juve, I think Kenan Yildiz is going to have truly a breakout season. I love him. I think Kenan Yildiz is a magical player. I think regardless of who you support, there are players that you just love because you love the game. Kenan Yildiz is just he has so much talent, and he's such a wonderful player to watch.
Yeah.
I get a tummy ache when we talk too good about Juventus. I get it.
Yeah, of course you can.
Dom, shut up. Mute. Okay.
We got a great comment in here for you, Nadine. We got a great comment.
I know, I saw it.
Yeah, great comment. Great comment.
The real question for Nadine is there you go.
I have 2 national teams. I have 20 clubs to support. My national team is playing today. They also played yesterday. My first national team played 3 days ago. Life is good, man.
I bet it is. You never lose.
I mean, here's the thing. My first national team, they won 2 days ago. My second national team, they won yesterday.
Which teams are these? Which teams are these?
Turkey and Egypt.
Okay.
Because I have 2, like my parents, they come from 2 different countries. So
okay.
Even in the international break, I'm still winning. Life is good.
That's crazy.
I mean, I think I'm gonna use your method. I'm gonna go with 20 teams, and I can never lose.
That's amazing. You can always be in a good mood. Yeah. Always good football. Life is good.
Man. Oh, good question from A16 from Nima.
Question.
Yeah. Do you think big teams having U23 play in Serie A will fix Italian youth problems?
That's a good question.
Look, I think the problem is that there's no pathway for young players, young Italian players to the teams. And I don't mean that at Inter or Milan, Juve, Napoli, and so on. I'm talking about a pathway to the Empolis, the Udineses. Like Empoli got relegated. So that's going to obviously be used by these people as, we can't play Italian youth because they played Italian youth. I'm very happy to see that Fiorentina's gone down the Italian route. I'm really happy about that. But it feels that they're a little bit more the exception to confirm the rule. Unfortunately, there is the pathway for young players to Serie A clubs is closed because they're scared of getting relegated, and that's a shame. But if the question is Serie C or Serie B, the under 23 thing, the next gen or whatever, I'm all in favor of that. I think it's shown to be good in Spain. I think they've shown the balance they've gotten there has been good. So I think, I'd like to see all of these Serie B, all of these teams as high up as possible as soon as possible. I mean, Milan's was a complete disaster. They got relegated to Serie D again, which is not good. Milan really had a shit season last year. So I hope they get to Serie B and Serie C as soon as possible. Juve and Inter is doing okay. No, I really believe in them, and I think Atalanta's is doing really well. So I think that, look, we have to. The key here is to get young players to play at a high level as much as possible, Italian players, and expose them to first team football as much as possible. And we discuss this all the time on the Italian Football Podcast, all the time, because it's such a complex discussion.
Yeah. And I have a question as well about Roma. What are your thoughts about Roma, especially going into the season with Gasperini, and they made a lot of reinforcements? I want to know your thoughts and your takes about it.
I have Roma as a dark horse to finish top four. I wouldn't be surprised if they finish top four. I like what I've seen so far. The fact that it's looking so good so early on is very, very, very encouraging, because usually when Gasperini takes over, it's a little bit in the beginning. I'm really surprised by how good they look. And I think I'm saying, watch out for Roma. Watch out for Roma. Don't sleep on Roma. I think Inter, if I'm Inter, and I'm keeping very close tabs on Roma so that they don't overtake you, because they can finish top four. Absolutely. I mean, look at Gasperini. He's done it with Atalanta how many times, how many years in a row? Yeah. I mean, you know, he knows what it takes to finish top four in the Serie A. So yeah, I really like what they've done. I think they bought interesting players that I think suit his system. And it's going to be, I'm really keen to see what Roma can do in the Europa League, how far they can go. And of course, Fiorentina, whilst we're on that subject, I hope Fiorentina with Pioli finally win the Conference League.
I have a very important question for you. Do you see any club being a serious Scudetto contender with Napoli this season? Like serious, going down to the wire?
See, I don't. I really don't. Because I think if there is a race, I think it's going to be Milan or Juve who push Napoli. But I still can't envision a situation where this is like last year, where it ends on last match day. I think Napoli's going to run away with it. I think he's going to, because I think he's going to he's going to open up this usual Antonio Conte 10-15 point lead at some point, and then it's over, you know.
Man,
you heard that, guys? You heard that's going to be long episodes for you guys in here.
But it wouldn't have been if Inter had not messed up.
Yeah,
like that's the thing. If they had kept Inzaghi, if they had not, last season had not been messed up the way they did, if Marotta hadn't gone around for 6 months saying that it's just a formality to extend Inzaghi's contract and then taking Allegri when Inzaghi is left. I mean, a lot of these things that are just self-harm, it's own goals, and they did it to themselves. And that's what. But so I feel like they've gift wrapped a couple of Scudetti away now, Inter, to Napoli and Milan, and this is just another one.
Yeah. Yeah, and we also have another question here from the chat. It says, outside of the big three and Napoli, what team do you think will be able to go for the Scudetto in the next few years?
Oof, that's a difficult one. I'd probably say Roma, if they were to have it. If out of all the others, I'd say Roma, given where we are today. I think with the kind of football he plays, he will have more pull, more financial pull, and more muscles at Roma. And if he can get them up there, yeah, I'd say Roma.
Yeah. Anybody on the panel have any questions for Nima? Anybody on the panel? Dom, you have another question for Nima or no? And also in the chat too, if you have any questions, bring them all out for Nima, everybody.
Yeah. I got to leave in like 5 minutes.
You stayed, Nima. You stayed longer than the time you had, so we really appreciate you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're so happy. We're so happy to have you here. Not gonna lie, we all enjoyed talking.
I could
love listening to you talk.
I could see the face. I could see the faces of every single panel member, and they all seem very happy, except for Suavi. Except for Suavi. Suavi don't look too happy right now. You don't like it. Well, you don't like it.
I mean, we gotta live that man talk now. Seriously, we gotta ask him the usual
question. In that little
question.
island of delusion with the hopes and expectations for this season, because I kind of brushed past a lot of the messed up things that have happened with our mercato and the mismanagement that we've seen. But I truly believe that we can get some solace this season. We could potentially win numero 21, you know. So that's kind of where I'm kind of wincing at some of the things that Nima's saying, because I'm like, I don't know, man. It could happen. You know, we could potentially win some of these key fixtures that we weren't able to win last season and make a serious title run, you know.
Yeah.
The quality is there. I just don't think that the manager is good enough, and I don't think he has the experience enough, and I don't think he has a team that's experienced enough, and I don't think he has the backing of that to do that. And that's
my only pushback. My only pushback, Nima, is the fact that we have a world beater at striker. We have one of the best midfielders in Nicolo Barella. We have one of the best defenders on the planet in Bastoni.
Andrea Pirlo, Cristiano Ronaldo, he had Adrien Rabiot, he had world-class players too. But what happened? I mean,
I
this is my
understand that.
point. In the Serie A, it's really important who the manager is. Tactically is very, very important.
I get that, but I think if he's able to, just from a manager perspective, put a fire under the seats for these players.
But it's not a fire under the seats issue. This is a tactical issue. There is a huge tactical issue. He is tactically inept. He's not ready. And the thing that pisses me off is that Marotta and them know it. They're sacrificing him. And I don't like that they sacrifice one of Inter's treble heroes. This is reminding me of when Berlusconi deep-fried Sedor, Inzaghi.
Yep.
You know, like when he went one after another, he just took these club legends and just fried them. And it's like, I don't like when they do that. I think it's gross. Because they deserve better, and Kivu deserves better, and I hope that he can survive this.
You're putting him in the position.
I agree with that point that Kivu's been done a major disservice, especially being a new up-and-coming manager who's coached 13, 14 games for Parma, right? However, I do believe that where we are right now with the team, the fact that these boys were coached with Antonio Conte, coached by Simone Inzaghi, there could be a bit of a trickle-down effect where they still understand what they're going to have to do from a tactical standpoint, and they just need a manager to just be a manager and just keep these boys in line and make sure that they're on their toes and they're ready for every game. Because, I mean, with Inzaghi, we've seen in a lot of these games over 90 minutes that there's been kind of like a fading of the enthusiasm and energy levels throughout the games. Inzaghi wasn't the most inspiring manager. You know, tactically, he was great. He was a bookworm, a nerd. Tactically, he set up our teams in such a way that, I mean, we had everybody keying into Inter games just to see how Bastoni was going to do the overlap, etc. Because these are things that nobody was really seeing before, right? However, I just think we, at this point and at this time for Inter, we need a guy who's just going to be just a raw merchant type of guy. You know, a guy who
but the raw merchant. You want the raw merchant to go with
absolutely.
The tactics of God. There's nothing there. But that's the thing. The rah-rah merchant doesn't win you anything. You know, Antonio Conte wins things because he's a rah-rah merchant, but he's also a tactical genius. He's meticulous. There's not enough hours in the day for him, the level that he works at and how he prepares and he goes into games. Like, that's why he's successful. Some would say that he's too obsessive over games, and that's why he's never done in Europe, because when he has to play 3 times a week, there's not enough hours in the day for him to concentrate on that much on every single game, right?
I agree.
But the issue is that with Kivu is that the defensive balance and the midfield to counter that with a high line. It's suicide. I get you want to play with a defensively high line, right? But you don't have the players to do that. And in order to counter that, you need a midfield that never stops running. Well, you have a midfield that covers a lot of ground. The problem is that Barella is exhausted still. I mean, look at the number of games that Lautaro and Barella played in the last 4 or 5 years since COVID. It's absurd. Mm-hmm. No one has played as much as they have. Those guys have. You know, it's you know, there's few players who played like that. And last season, Inter were mentally cooked. They were destroyed. The way that it was the longest season ever. It was 11 months long. You saw that they got the preseason wrong. That's on Inzaghi. So the players were exhausted, and it would just keep drearing along, just keep dragging along. They kept dragging along, and they didn't have any energy left when they came to it. And it exploded spectacularly against PSG. What have they done since then to resolve that? Nothing. In fact, on the bench, they've weakened. It's as simple as that. And it's that to me is all on Marotta. I want people to understand one thing. I'm not criticizing Kivu. It's not Kivu's fault. This has nothing to do with Kivu. This is on Inter. This is all Inter's breath and Inter's management. They're the ones to blame. No one else.
Just like Koyan said on Monday. It all falls back on the front office.
It's funny when you tweet things and people, it's like they're trying to they don't read what you've written, they read what you haven't written, and they infer shit. And it's like, I've never criticized Kivu. This isn't a Kivu issue. This is a decision issue. Who makes the decisions? Well, work back from there. I mean, this isn't harder to get than that, really.
I mean, Nima,
you're not all on them. But again, having said that, Pepe Marotta's one of the greatest football men Italy's ever produced. He's in terms of directors and building teams. If you look at his career, but he's not infallible. He's not God. He's going to make mistakes, and he has made lots of big blunders at Juve. haggling over a couple of million and losing Verratti to PSG forever, for example, comes to mind just off the top of my head. You know, Higuain for 90 odd million, another mistake by Marotta, in my opinion. Like everyone makes mistakes, but we have to be open and honest that he has screwed up here, and Inter are going to pay for that. And I just hope that top four is not a risk, and I think it will be, and I think that's when he will be sacked. You have to look at Inter's Champions League as well. I mean, you have a couple of easy games, and then you have some really tricky ones.
Yeah,
like you have to win those first 4 games before you go into the sticky end. Then you got Juve, you got derbies. I mean, it's crunch time for Kivu, and you go into that Juve game and you get completely tactically outclassed by Igor Tudor, which is not impossible because Tudor is cunning. He is a smart, cunning guy. Then, you know, the floodgates start opening, and then you start tinkering with the backline. You need to start playing with a back 4, and then the media start. But then it turns into, it's like Trapattoni said, Inter is, you know, he came from Juve to Inter, and he said the pressure at Inter was coming from Juve to Inter. The pressure at Inter was like walking into a centrifuge. That's how it is at Inter when things don't go well. It's not like other clubs. It's different. It's just different. I'm not saying better. I'm not saying worse. I'm just saying it's different. And when things don't go well at Inter, it starts spinning, and when it spins, it's like a centrifuge, you know. And I think they're going to sacrifice Kivu for it. And already you're hearing these guys in the Italian media who know exactly what this is. When you hear people like Bergomi saying that it's going to be a difficult season, when you hear someone like, what's his name, Caressa saying, I didn't like what I heard there from Kivu. I didn't like what he said. They're not stupid. They're experienced. They know how Italian football works. We've all seen this. The signs are very worrying. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, man. And we do have another question from Eduardo. It says, could the solution for Kivu just be that he should just lower the damn defensive line like Inzaghi did in the 22-23 season?
That could be part of it, but sure. But then what does that tell him about how he wants? Because then it's like they brought him in to play a 3-4-2-1, that got scrapped. They brought him in to play a 3-5-2 with a high line, that gets scrapped. Then what's left? You basically want someone to continue you want Inzaghi, but you don't have Inzaghi. That's not going to work either.
Yeah,
he can be lowered. He's going to be forced to lower the defensive line, and if you can get it to work, that's awesome. But it's unnecessary, and it pisses me off because, you know, the Turams, the Barellas, the Bastonis, the Lautaros, they're hitting their peak years, you know, and these are the years they should be hoarding trophies, and instead it's being wasted. And I'm starting to worry if Lautaro, especially what he said today in the Ballon d'Or interview with France Football about my marketing is not as strong, perhaps, and that's why people don't know me. Well, that to me is one way of saying, anyone out there want to buy me? I'm just saying, like, you know, that I
he said
hear,
that.
He said, well, they asked him if he feels underrated, and he said yes. And maybe that's because my marketing and hype isn't as strong as the other strikers. Well, that is a very, very that's a dog whistle to me.
That sounds sketchy.
That's not Lautaro's fault, by the way. That is not Lautaro. It's true. It is his marketing and PR, but whose fault is that? It's not Lautaro. And if he had won the Champions League, and if he had won more trophies, and if a club had been better run, more structured, he would have been in those discussions. He would have had that PR. You see what I'm saying? To me, there's layers to this comment that he made. And I heard lots of things there. And I'm thinking, that's not a good sign. That is not a good sign. And I don't blame Lautaro for it. Again, the blame stays with Oaktree and Marotta. They're the ones in charge of this ship. This is not Suning's Inter anymore. That ended against PSG. It's their Inter.
Yeah, man, I hear you, bro.
Well, Nima, I know you got to go. You said you had to go in 4 minutes, and it's been like 15. So I don't want to keep you here, and I don't want to interrupt your plans on a Saturday. Hey, man, thank you for coming on board. You're welcome whenever you want to come back, and I appreciate your time that you've given us and the questions you answered for all of us as well.
Cheers, boys.
Yeah, man.
Cheers, boys.
Yeah,
and girls.
cheers, Nima. Thank you so much for coming on, man. Thank you so
Pleasure.
much.
Have a good show. Talk to you guys soon.
Yeah,
Ciao, ciao.
talk to you soon. Ciao, ciao.
Peace.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Now we got one Inter fan left.
هنتكتل عليه دلوقتي. هنتكاثر عليه.
So, Salvi,
What's up, brother?
still got faith in Kivu, huh?
Can you guys hear me well?
Yeah, and I do want to ask as well, how did you become an Inter fan?
All right, for me, obviously, different generation to Nima. So he was watching Lothar Matthäus and those guys. I didn't get a chance to watch those guys. For me, obviously, just growing up with my brothers and my pops was a big Juve fan. Crazy enough.
Love to hear that.
And my bros loved Juve as well, you know, growing up. And I remember when I first got into calcio, my pops used to have the VCR, and we're living in Canada, in Toronto, and he used to record the games because he used to go to work. He would probably miss it, so he'd have it on record. So I used to come back, and a lot of times he was watching Juve games. He'd have some Roma games as well. And I used to watch. I mean, I remember the first player that I fell in love with was Francesco Totti. Growing up, you know, that was my favorite player of all time. You know, and I low key maybe would have became a Roma fan at that point. However, I got into watching Adriano and Bobo Vieri and those type of guys, and I'm not gonna lie, for some reason I just got drawn towards Inter, you know. And then especially one of my uncles is a big Inter fan, and I remember he sat me down. Literally, we were talking football and whatnot, and he was trying to put me on game. And he was like, "Do you know Inter? Do you know like the history with the club, etc.?" And I didn't have no idea. Obviously, at the time, I'm a little kid. I think I was around 8, 9. And he's telling me, yeah, this club basically is the first club that opened up its borders, basically, in essence, right, and allowed players from every country to play for them, you know, after the split with Milan, you know. And I felt like at the time I was like, damn, that's a bit wild, you know. And it just kind of furthered my love for the club. And then obviously watching them growing up, when I was more coherent on the beautiful game, I was able to kind of just grow more in love with the club, you know, and that's where I'm at today, you know, when it comes to all things Inter, you know, for me personally. And it's the only club I'll support. It's the only club I love, and I can't, you know, and that will never change. I mean, even during the Banter era, it was tough to watch it, but I still had to sit back and thug it out, and, you know, and watch those monstrosities on the pitch, you know, the João Miranda, the João Marios, and the Kondogbia area, the Jonathan Biabianis. I mean, the Charlotto scored against Francesco over there in a derby. I mean, the beautiful thing is, though, when we were down bad, they were down bad with me, so it wasn't too bad, right?
Listen,
it could be worse. You could get scored on by Niang, you know, a player that people haven't heard of in a long time. So it could be worse.
It's true.
And Alex.
Listen, you know, you talked about the banter area that you guys were in. You know, I think everyone on the panel could say you guys pulled yourself out of the banter era. 2 CL finals, 2 Scudetti, numerous Coppa Italia. So you guys kind of pulled yourself out. I can't say the same thing about Milan. You know what I mean? They're right back, and they never left the banter. They won 1 Scudetto, was questionable, and now they're, you know, 8th place. You know what I'm saying?
Questionable. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. Okay.
I mean,
sorry, Salvi. Can you talk? Because I got this mosquito talking in my ear. So can you talk a little bit?
No, I mean, I was gonna pile on. I was gonna say that 1 Scudetto that they won was with Stefano Pioli, and that's the biggest indictment you could ever have on Inzaghi, to allow that man to lift the Scudetto.
Hey, man, listen, he revived that team a little bit, so you know I gotta appreciate Pioli for one thing.
Yeah.
And I do give major props to that Rafael Leao MVP run. I mean, that last third of the season, I mean, he was incredible. Like, I'd never seen anything like it. So
yeah.
I mean, I hope to see it again this season, maybe. I mean, especially with it being a World Cup season when he comes back from injury. So I hope so.
Absolutely.
You know, Francesco, he always has a hard time on here, but he gets through it. He gets to round 12. You know, that's the most important thing. It always goes to decision.
He's a fighter.
Yeah, he never gets knocked out. I got to give him credit. Anybody have any questions for Salvi, man? I wanted to mention something about my boy here. And I'll never forget this moment on Twitter for Salvi, you know, because he was he was flexing as an Inter fan last season, and when Inter walked away with 0 trophies, he actually crashed out on Twitter. You want to explain that to the panel? How you crashed out? What happened?
So I listen. I like to talk my shit on Twitter, on X. You know, it's my thing. It's my brand. You know, I'll go at any fan base at any given moment. You know, it's just what I do. But yeah, so after the Inter Barca game, I felt like $1 million. You know what I mean? I was going around. I was talking shit to everybody about everything. I was saying, Inter, how did you let us do that with Henrik Mkhitaryan and Francesco Acerbi's running the full length of the pitch to dunk it on your head? How you letting that happen? You know, and I was doing all of that. And then obviously in anticipation for the final. And then finally, when we get to the final and that 5-0 happens, I remember halftime, I actually left. I was watching at a cafe.
What was the score again? What was the score? I keep forgetting. What was the score again?
Let's not do that. We all know. We all know what the score was.
Dom, I actually agree with. I actually agree with you. I didn't catch that. Sal, you want to remind me?
Nah. I'm not going to do that. We could just go on live score or something. But listen, so after that game, I remember I couldn't sleep. I remember I had work in the morning. I had to be up 5 a.m. for work. It was 2:30. It was like 2:38. I even remember the time. It was like 2:38 a.m. I'm staring at my ceiling. I swear to you, in this room, I'm staring at my ceiling. I couldn't believe it, bro. For 3-4 days, I mean, I couldn't. It was so hard for me to process what happened that night, you know. And I remember I was like, let me just go on this app because I feel like people are probably thinking that I'm ducking, you know, because I talk, like I said, I speak a lot, you know, I talk a lot of trash. So I was like, let me just go on this app and let me see what's going on, right? So I opened up a space, you know, basically a live stream over there, and I remember I fully lost it over what happened, you know, and I started crashing out. And the thing is, though, mainly all my anger, all my frustration, all my disappointment was targeted towards one man. It was Inzaghi, you know, and that's the sentiment that most of my fan base shares. We all believe that Simone Inzaghi set us up for a complete disaster class. You know,
not only did he go on a space, but he went on video.
Yeah, video. Yeah,
sitting on that same chair, depressed. You know, I was gonna set up a GoFundMe account for my boy, you know, because he looked like he was gonna stop eating for a couple of weeks. He looked like he was in severe depression. But I'm glad you pulled through, bro.
I pulled myself out of that. Dumb. I'll tell you this. I mean, when that happened, what I did was I thought it was slick for me to put some Drake in the background, you know what I mean? Not some Marvin's Room, that kind of vibe going on in the background, just to let people know that I'm really not there, like mentally, and I'm not there physically. Like, I'm just Drake there physically. Yeah, so I was really in a bad, sorry place, and I told people, you're not gonna catch me on this app no more, right? I said, you guys, everybody that I'm on this app, you guys are good people. This is it for me. It's the end of the road. But obviously, I think about 3 weeks later, that's when I decided to pop back onto the app because I couldn't help myself. I'm addicted. But it's funny because when that happened on that night, I really did think, I was like, I'm not coming back on Twitter. I'm done with football. And it's crazy. I swear to you, I'm not even, no joke, bro. 3 days, 3 nights sleep, bro. I was just thinking, I swear to God, I was having dreams of Desiree Doué and PSG. I swear, bro, on my
Gio,
life.
You hearing this?
That's really what happened to me. You know what I mean? Like, that shit really got to me.
Typical Inter fan, man. Typical Inter fan. I love it, man. I love it.
But listen, I do want to bring up anybody in the comments, put in your last questions, even on the panel, if you have any questions for Salvi, because we are going to be wrapping up soon.
Yeah.
So make sure to do that. I have at least 5 minutes, so make sure to do that, everybody, to wrap it up, you know, so we could end as well. Because it's a Saturday, you know, it's a Saturday for everybody. You know, people got stuff.
Yeah, we know you got things to do in Miami, Gio. We know you got some pina coladas waiting for you on the beach. Virgin pina coladas. We know you need to get your groove on. We understand. We get it. Probably, bro. When you know, you're obviously gonna come back on the show when you know when the time allows. I'm gonna tell you right now, Francesco don't let Francesco bully you up in here, bro.
Nah.
Listen,
Imagine getting
Dom,
bullied by
Dom,
you.
don't even, Dom, don't even try it, bro.
When was the last time you saw Inter in eighth place?
Eighth
When
place.
did you see that?
Yo, whatever
Lost
happened
the
to
cream
whatever
cheese.
happened to
Lost
we
the
need to
cream
stop talking about
cheese.
whatever happened to
You
we need to stop
lost the
talking about the
cream
past and talk
cheese.
about the present. Now all of
Wow.
a sudden,
Let's
Game
talk
on.
about last week. Let's talk
Game
about last
on.
week. You
Yeah,
lost
we
to
won.
Cremonese, bro.
We won, brother. We won.
I
You
mean,
said last week. We
everybody
won.
knows that last season.
Get your
whenever
facts straight, bro.
Milan,
Which I know with you, that's very hard.
Francesco, last season.
Salvi, this is the first derby I'm looking forward to, brother. So I can't wait for that game.
I'm here. Listen, all I'm gonna say is last
Kivu
season,
makes
you
it.
guys,
If Kivu makes it,
listen,
which I
Francesco,
know he
you guys
won't.
beat us last
But
season.
anyway,
you guys
Clip it,
were,
Gio. Clip it, Gio.
that was your.
clip it.
Listen, Francesco, that was your trophy last season, beating us. I mean, we know how it goes with Milan.
Well,
Like you guys, when you guys beat Inter, it's bigger than anything else. Sometimes I question if you guys hate Inter more than you love Milan.
Listen, Salvi, to be honest, I was very surprised how we beat Inter all those times. Very surprised. Because the moment Milan screwed up at the start of the last season, the moment they screwed up was when they hired Fonseca. That's when I knew, this is going to be a long season.
Absolutely. I was with you with that. And then the Consensao hire too. Let's speak on that. I mean, when that was happening and you guys were doing the cigars, celebrations, all of that.
You remember that?
He joined in. I felt like he joined in wrong place, wrong time.
I agree. Because I don't think he's a bad manager. I just think the situation.
Yeah, it was a situation. He joined in at the wrong time. It was already too late, and there was no reviving that team. Their morale was already low. People were like, we just won the Super Copa. And I'm like, yo, it's one game. Let's just wait.
We got a question here. So Salvi, after last season, what do you expect - want from Inter this season?
All right. So, I mean, I think obviously last season, very disappointing. But this season, new manager, I also believe that's a new breath of fresh air as well. So I think this season, we still have the best team in Italy, in my opinion. So the Scudetto is paramount. That is the most important thing. Get back to winning ways. Get number 21 on the map.
You got what?
Yes.
You got the best front attack. That's it.
No, we have the best team. Not even attack. This is the best team.
Okay. I'll see you down. I'll see you down the road then. I'll see you.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, the Juve game is paramount because last season against the big teams in Italy, we did not do well, and I don't know, the preparation to those games wasn't really there, the same way it was the season prior, right? Because I remember watching that Juve-Napoli game. I told you, Dom, the first time you met them last season, and the way you guys were going into tackles, the way your guys were sacrificing themselves in that game. I mean, that's what winners are made of, And so this season, I just think with Kivu at the helm, I think he's going to be able to put a battery in the backpack of these players and get the best out of them. Because when we go band for band, bar for bar, who has the best singular players? We have them. Nobody else has a Lautaro Martinez. Nobody else has a Nicolo Barella. Nobody else has a Bastoni, in my honest opinion. And once I have those three type of guys there, I'm expecting the Scudetto.
Listen. I'm good at reading the room, and I'm seeing that you and Francesco you guys would be very entertaining. So Suavi, I need you to come back on the show whenever you can. On Saturdays work for you if we do these early shows, because I want to see what happens here. I want to see, because Francesco, I've never seen him so pumped up and going at somebody since you showed up to the show.
Imagine trying to be roasted by Francesco.
That would be horrible. That's worse than you. That's worse than losing a CL final 5-0.
Nadine, you have the throne right now with your 20 teams over there. Okay. Don't even start. No, you're excused.
Okay, I've got 99 teams. AC Milan is not one of them. That's the best thing ever.
Hey, AC Milan is not worthy of your 99 teams anyway. So,
hey, I think we're gonna wrap it up because I'm looking at Gio and I know those pina coladas are waiting. They're not gonna drink themselves. So we need to, we're gonna close out the show. We'll be in the back room real quick.
Pick up my 20
I'll say this.
We'll talk in the back. We'll talk in the backstage real quick. And I just wanted to say, Suavi, thank you for coming.
I appreciate you guys for having me on. Honestly, I'm humbled.
And I say this seriously. You're welcome back on the show. Whenever you can make it. Yeah, because I know your time zone is very, very different from ours, but you're always welcome back on the show. I'll throw you some.
Let us know. Let us know, and then we'll have you back on the show. Definitely,
appreciate it, bro.
Definitely,
thank you.
Yeah, bro. So guys, make sure, of course, to follow everybody's in socials and stuff like that, the Twitter handles as well. Make sure to also like and subscribe to the Tutto Calcio official YouTube channel. Everybody, it is growing. We reached over 550 subscribers already, so that's another milestone. We're going to be getting to 600 soon, everybody. So definitely share the content because we have a lot of big things coming, man, and I can't wait, bro. So big up to everybody as well on the panel. Of course, my co-host Dom, always helping out. Didi, the graphic designer, always making the thumbnails. Shout out to her because she's been doing a really great job. Francesco, the editor, definitely doing us as well. Good work too. So and Nadine always showing up as well when we need her. So definitely good on that too. And of course, Suavi, thank you so much for coming on to Tutto Calcio. And we also reached, and also of course for Nima too. If Nima's gonna watch back, thank you so much for coming on Tutto Calcio. It was a real pleasure having him. And yeah, man, of course, until next time, man, let's go, boys. Forza Serie A, everybody. Forza
Get those
Serie A,
pina coladas, baby. Get those pina coladas.
Bye.
Ciao, guys. Ciao.
Bye.